So here we're going to work the subscapularis. The subscapularis is a very powerful internal rotator of the shoulder. So we know from the joint by joint theory and the upper cross syndrome, people tend to have a bit too much internal rotation of the humerus. We live in this internal flex position. So this muscle is key to release, so it allows people to externally rotate and move above head effectively. So if people are having issues in overhead motions, the lat is an issue, but the subscap is also generally a problem. The subscapularis gets its name from Latin, of course, but sub, it means below, and scapularis means the scapula. So it means it's underneath the shoulder blade, basically, subscapularis. So just to palpate this muscle, we're going to have Kiki sort of do a bench press here. So here we find the pec, she relaxes, she pulls down, pull down here. Now this is the lat. So we want to be in between these two structures on the underside. So we want to, this is the pec, she's ticklish. You want to go underneath this way. I'm going to show you a couple of different hand positions. So pull down. So, no, just relax. Pull down into my. This happens a lot. So that was my fault, right? I gave shitty advice. So what I should say is push into my hand here. This fires up the lat. Relax. That just gives me my landmark. So I want to slide under that to the subscapular fossa. A fossa in anatomy is a shallowing of bone. So the subscap originates from the subscapularis fossa and it goes to the humerus. So we hook the fingers, we take the arm up to protract the shoulder blade. Understand that? So I'm going to be here. I'm contacting bone here, guys. So these fingers now, when I find the lat, I move in front of it. I protract Kiki's shoulder blade and I can feel bone. So when we feel bone, that means we are in contact with the subscapularis. So I'm going to take a nice base of support. I protract the shoulder and I pin here. Just hold. So the worst thing for me to do here is to fish around here. I don't want to be scraping in someone's auxiliary area. It's very tender. The skin is very thin here. We get a lot of bruising and sometimes bleeding. So I'm going to contact. These fingers now don't move. I use Kiki's arm for the release. So recall the subscap is an internal rotator. So I'm here, I'm going to externally rotate Kiki's arm. I'm going to feel a lot of tension in my index finger. Once you feel that tension, we can just hold. To further facilitate the release of the subscap, due to the anatomy, the ribs being in this area, of course, I can ask Kiki to take a big deep breath. So when she breathes in like that, this is going to create some scapular movement, and this can further facilitate the release of this muscle. How's that feel? Mm-hmm. When you ask how this feels, don't expect, oh, it feels great. This muscle is very tender. So with the finger position in here, as on previous palpations, I don't want to be going in like this with one. I want to hook my fingers. We can do it this way and hook, and I can come in this way. So I'm going to hook around, and I'm going to curve my fingers around, and I'm angling down. So I'm hooking around and angling down onto the subscap fossa. It's hard for me to say today. Protract, hook around. relaxes. I'm going to use a thumb now. Not a thumbnail, a thumb now. It says thumbnail. So now I'm going to use my fingers on the underside to help me pull Kiki's scapula into protraction. And the reason we're doing that is just to expose the muscle, guys. We don't want to have them in any more protraction, it's just to access that tissue. So my fingers help. I come in here, I contact with my thumb, and I try to create a bit of compression on my chest, and then I lift. And now I create a release with this rotation here. This is external rotation. So we're stretching the internal rotators. Nice strong base for me. Here. Can come out this way. Not all our clients have this range of motion, of course. That's okay, we work at our clients' barriers. So if there's barriers here, we'll stay here. Kiki has range here, we'll take it. If I can take a seat, we'll take it. So people always ask in our videos, how would you work on someone who's a bit stiffer and a bit smaller? Of course, on our Instagram videos, it's hard for us to share that information in 1 minute. But this medium, we will expand upon that. If you guys have any questions or queries about that further, if we've not answered them, please drop us a note and ask us. So the subscap is an internal rotator, commonly very tight. We need to restore external range of motion in the shoulder. So get used to working the subscap. Work slowly, work softly at first. Key points, when you're in here, try not to be scraping around. The motion is created by moving them, their arms, with flexion, extension, rotation, and all those, the clients taking very deep chest breaths. When the chest moves, we are going to get some expansion of the ribs, which invariably moves the shoulder blade.